Good afternoon and Happy New Year, Mayor and City Council. I am Andy Kenyon, the Director of the Parks and Recreation Department. The year has flown by so far, and the Parks and Recreation Department continues to impress by providing world-class recreational opportunities, manicured green spaces and gardens, and well-maintained facilities throughout the city. Our team has spent a lot of time developing new ways to do old things that helped us become more efficient. The seasonal staff was much smaller than in the past due to the fact that people just weren't applying for these types of jobs. Because we couldn't fill all of the positions, we collaborated with new partners and teamed up with different departments within the city, and in reality, we are better now than we were before. The cemetery staff worked with Alex in GIS and Tech Services to get the cemetery's mapping system updated and improved. They now have the ability to carry a tablet computer into the field when meeting with families, digging or locating graves instead of marking up oversized paper maps that were very cumbersome. The tablets show everything you could see on Google Maps while also showing grave space locations with names and dates. This has been a huge time saver and brings the cemetery operations into the current century. The seasonal mowing crew was reorganized and a new structure of supervision was instituted. This shift led to higher quality end product and gave the crews the ability to transition around to help each other out when needed. This team also was able to help in the cemeteries to assist in trimming the 35,000 headstones that needed weed whipping. This is even more valuable now that the swap crew program from Ottawa County is no longer an available resource. This past fall, the tulips went into the ground at a record pace. The goal has always been to finish planting the bulbs by Thanksgiving. This year, everything was put to bed by November 12, a full 2 weeks ahead of our self-induced goal. Again, the team changed things up and got creative on how we did the work. The entire Parks and Recreation Department spent time in the field planting this fall. Many of the lanes, beds, and all of the downtown corridor were planted by programmers, facility team members, office staff, and yes, even me. This process led to a great sense of ownership and camaraderie. The team had a fun time doing the work as well. Moving into the future, we may ask other groups and departments throughout the city to participate. New partnerships were also developed. The American Legion band conductor is also in charge of music at Holland Christian High School. He contacted the Parks Department and wanted to have his students give back to the community, and boy did they ever. 125 students from the band and orchestra classes, plus a couple bus drivers and parapros, planted over 43,000 tulips in about 3.5 hours. They planted the entire 12th and Washington Street boulevards, saving the parks team about 437.5 hours of labor. Window in the Waterfront was again planted almost entirely by the community. Between corporate planning day and the volunteer group the following morning, over 89,000 tulips were planted. Centennial Park also received some love from volunteers and had bulbs planted. Overall, approximately a third of the tulips that we ordered were planted by volunteers this year. This model will be used in the future and will definitely expand. The support of our community is unbelievable, and we couldn't do what we do without them. A magician is defined as a person with magical powers, or a person with exceptional skill in a particular area. This also defines a recreation division. Every single day, this team figures out a way to host kids, adults, and families in programming that takes place in sometimes 8 to 10 different facilities each night. These facilities include spaces like local school gyms, cafeterias, and break rooms. This team works relentlessly to provide the best possible experience for our participants. However, without our own recreational space, this effort sometimes feels futile. Each and every day, the Parks and Recreation Department does amazing things. Mowing, fixing irrigation lines, trimming and planting trees, refereeing games, teaching someone to play guitar, repairing a desk at City Hall, doing a graveside service, designing a flower bed, plowing sidewalks, and planning for the future. All of these things just happen. I'm very proud to work with such an amazing and incredible group of hardworking and dedicated people. Now I'll jump into a few highlights from the past year and where our priorities are lining up right now for the upcoming year. Field lighting at Mad Urban Sports Complex and Riverview Park. The lights were recently replaced with LED fixtures. These lights were very old. Some were installed in the 1970s. Technology has made leaps and bounds in the past 4 decades, and now the lights are very directional, leaving the light on the playing surface instead of bleeding into the sky and onto neighboring structures. We'll see significant savings in our energy consumption and our maintenance, and a much better end product for our participants to play under. Nature-based playground at Window on the Waterfront. A new playground was built with the help of another great partnership and collaborative effort. The new space at Window on the Waterfront is absolutely stunning and will serve the community for years to come. The Outdoor Discovery Center approached the city in need of a space that would allow their preschool group to play. We were able to find the location, and the ODC went to work fundraising for the project. The community again stepped up and donated about $500,000 to make the playground a reality. Make sure to get out to Window and check it out. Rooftop HVAC units installed at the Collin Park Fire Station. 2 very large and old HVAC units were removed from the fire station and replaced with more efficient ones. These were also spec'd to be able to be used in the future with the upcoming renovations to the entire building. The Park Department was hired to assist with operations at Tulip Time Inc., yet another example of community partnerships that are being developed. Tulip Time Inc. has gone under some significant staffing changes and challenges throughout the last year. One of these is with their operations team. With the retirement of a longtime staffer, they had a need for some assistance. We have always worked with the operation end of the festival, but now we're taking the lead on making sure that things like garbage, porta potties, setups, and takedowns are all taken care of. The Park Department is excited about the expanded collaboration. Some of our priorities for the upcoming year include the following. Recreation Center discussions. The Recreation Center is something that I've mentioned before and will continue to work towards. As I previously have stated, the recreation team does an amazing job working with the community to find spaces to host the community for programming. It is an understatement that we need a facility that we can call home and one that the community can rely on. An update at Moran Park, including courts and playgrounds. The tennis, pickleball, and basketball courts are scheduled to be resurfaced in the coming year or so. The courts will have the same treatment as the ones at Mad Urban that we resurfaced a few years ago, and you may recall visiting them on a council tour. Keeping up with our updating of the playgrounds, Moran Park's 2 structures will look to be replaced as well. The hope is to bring some inclusive play elements to these refreshed areas, similar to what was done at Lakeview Park last year. We want to add outdoor columbarium spaces to the cemeteries and look to expand. The outdoor niches have been a popular area at Pilgrim Home Cemetery. There are currently around 100, and they are all sold and/or occupied. 2 additional units at Pilgrim Home and 1 or 2 will be budgeted for Grasscup Cemetery. Staff will also be evaluating and reviewing plans to expand Pilgrim Home Cemetery. At the current rate of sales, we have about 7 years left before we run out of spaces to sell. However, there are still decades before we actually have the unoccupied spaces filled. Adding new sections at the west side of Pilgrim Home will add many years to our ability to sell grave spaces. And we're looking to increase full-time staff. A request to add a couple of full-time positions to the Parks and Recreation team will be addressed in the upcoming budget cycle. These additional positions would help get our team closer to the staffing levels we had 15 years ago. Over the course of the past decade, the park system has grown exponentially, not necessarily by acres, but the volume of work. The dog park at Vinralty Farm, the new playground at Window on the Waterfront, the addition of facility maintenance, the pending ice rink, and the loss of programs like SWAP have all led us to be stretched thin and in need of additional and consistent full-time team members. Thank you very much, and have a great rest of your day.